Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's On the Sofa. We're very pleased to have with us Andrew Steele-Davis, media manager from the club, who will be on with Vic in a moment. Just a quick announcement that we still have the children's gifts for GWH. If anybody would like to donate anything, it's under a £10 limit. Games, small games, books, puzzles, that type of thing. Age range is 0 to 17, so quite a range of children to cater for. So anything would be appreciated. You can drop them off at the Legends Lounge tomorrow, or on Saturday, or at the Foundation Park before the 3rd of December. Okay, thank you very much for that. So let's bring Vic on. Good morning, afternoon, evening, Vic. Gosh, I don't even know what day it is. Never mind what time of the day it is today.
Well, in some part of the world, Chris, you'll be correct on all three statements, so you're fine. Don't worry about it.
Me, it's going to go well. I'm sure it's going to go well.
Yes, so, good evening, good night, good morning, wherever you might be. Yes, lovely.
Yeah, wherever you might be. Let's just take everybody in. We're inclusive here, so.
We are, absolutely.
We are.
Just before we start, we should say we're live on YouTube, so as well as Facebook. Yes. So how exciting is that? Very exciting.
Oh, try it. I'm not a YouTuber. I don't know what that means, but I'm sure it's all good.
Yeah,
it's an improvement, I'm sure. So, okay. So shall we get Mr. Steele-Davis on and we can make a start? Good evening, Andrew.
Good evening. How are we doing?
We're all good, thank you, and hope you are too. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to leave you to it. Any questions for Andrew, put them into the comments. As usual, we will ask as many as possible. And if we don't get through them all, I'm sure I will cut and paste them and send them to Andrew. And if there's any that need answering in the following weeks, we can do that. Okay, so Andrew, I will leave you and I will see you shortly.
Perfect. Thank you.
Chris, thanks very much indeed, and welcome along to our On the Sofa event. Very special one tonight because it's the latest in our look behind the scenes of Swindon Town Football Club. Just before we get underway with Andrew, I just wanted to mention the SAS Travel Club. Tomorrow they'll be open between just before the game, really. And so if you want to go along and book your away travel for Barrow, the bookings they're taking tomorrow night, then their office is just behind the town end. And generally there's a group of us just standing around aimlessly chatting there. So if you want to sort of come along and see that group aimlessly chatting, that's where the away travel office is. So if you want to book for Barrow on the 11th of December, and why wouldn't you? That's where the office is open. And of course, you can get them on their usual contact details. Andrew, welcome along. Thank you very much indeed. Good to see you. We know you've been on this before in a sort of advisory capacity, if you like, when various people have approached. But thank you very much for your time. Busy time for you.
Yeah, it's very busy, especially this week, obviously with the 3 home games in 7 days. We've also got a kit launch coming up, and I know you're dying to know what that is. So yeah, it's been full on really. It's been non-stop since last week. Busy weekend with Newport, and then yesterday was a kind of admin day, with program stuff and straight in it today. So very busy.
Yeah, obviously, there's a question here from Danny Lee. Any chance of you making a coffee in the office? Would that be is that a bit of a problem for you? Do you not make coffee? What's up with that?
I tell you what, Vic, since I've been back, so August, I've never seen Danny get anywhere near a kitchen or a kettle. I must have made that guy countless coffees and teas. So it'd be nice if he makes one. But no, he's to be fair, he's too busy bringing in deal after deal for the club, so I'll let him off. He's done a brilliant job with some of the deals that we've had through the door.
Actually, there's one thing I've picked up from that remark is the kind of camaraderie and banter between people behind the scenes now, where I'm kind of guessing a few months ago that was in short supply. I know you've only you come back in sort of August, was it, when you started officially? But I'm guessing there's a pretty good atmosphere behind the scenes now.
Yeah, I think it's a bit. This is going to sound kind of cliche, but we're a family because we are such a small team. Me and Danny have been close. We were close going back to my first spell. So it's been good to kind of pick that up again. Even if he does sound the Cookie Monster because of my voice, I'll let him off for that. But no, I think we're really there's a lot of togetherness in that office. When there is such a small team in this industry, you have to be there for each other, otherwise it's not going to work. And I think since the summer it's been non-stop. It's not really slowed down at all. And you've got Danny, you've got Matt, you've got Rob, you've got Ella, Vicky, Amy, Chelsea, Sarah, Greg. I'm probably forgetting some names. Chris. Everyone's just kind of one big family, and we're always there for each other. And I think you have to have some banter and stuff, especially with the long hours we're doing, because it kind of makes it easier when things are tough.
Yeah, you mentioned your voice. Dean on Twitter says he's going to close his eyes and think we're talking to Sean Dyche, which is something I think you put up with quite a lot. Is that right?
If I was Dean, I wouldn't close my eyes too much, because he'll probably go to sleep with my voice. But again, thanks to Danny, I've been compared to the Cookie Monster. Someone says I'm like Roy Kent from Ted Lasso. So there's definitely a thing with the voice. So I try not to listen to it if I can, but I'll let other people have the pleasure of that.
Fair enough. Anyway, Tim says, big shout out to Andrew Steele-Davis. Keep up the great work. So comments are already coming in. And actually, on the subject of your voice, you were working for Swindon 105.5 for a while, weren't you, as a presenter and producer? Tell us a little bit about that work.
Yeah, and this is highlights your excellent journalistic skills, because we're actually doing some of them at the moment, which I can come on to. But yeah, if it wasn't for 105.5 and Shirley Ludford in particular, I wouldn't be here now. She was the one that gave me my first real opportunity to get behind the mic and have a platform, really. I was still in school. It was something I always knew I wanted to do, and I was just looking for a little bit of experience, and she took me in, and they were based at the county ground at the time, so we had constant access to the team. And my first ever interview happened to be Charlie Austin, and it was his first ever interview too. Something he remembered a few years down the line when he was at QPR, which was nice. So it's kind of weird how our careers linked. And they were huge for my development, and they're such a huge asset to the town, I think, in terms of what they do for all different groups and people. And me and Rob Angus, our CEO, had a meeting with Shirley last week or 2 weeks ago. So we're going to set up some kind of mentorship program for young children there that want to get into sports journalism. So I sat down with a young lad called Josh last week, and he asked me some questions, because I think I'm in a very privileged position. I'm in a position that I know a lot of people would like, and I'm very aware of that. And I think in life it's important to give back if you can. So we want to open up the club to anyone that has an interest in this industry and that wants to get in and know what it's all about. And that's something we'll be working on over the coming weeks.
Yeah, I've known Shirley for a long, long time, of course, through Hospital Radio Swindon many, many years ago, when there were things called cartridges and tapes. You might remember those in the years gone by. This is from Pete. If Andrew was offered the social media job for the Mets, Rangers or Knicks, which would he choose and why? I'm guessing the Rangers, personally. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a very good question. And Vic, you're right. It'd be the Rangers, hands down, I think.
Yeah. Explain why.
Well, hockey's my big love in it, and it has been for years. And the Rangers are a team close to my heart, and they're actually, when I've had stints in the States, they're a team that I was lucky enough to do a little bit of work with. And to be able to call Madison Square Garden home one day would be a dream. It's there's a reason it's called the world's most famous arena. I think it'd be them. But we've got a job to do with Swindon first. So if we can get us to the Premier League, then look at that later. That'd be ideal.
Yeah, you work for somebody called the Blue Line Station. That's a site that covers the Rangers, I think. And also, you were the NHL writer for NYSF magazine. New York Rangers, New York Islanders, and the New Jersey Devils. So you've done your bit, haven't you, for ice hockey? And there was a spell, I think, we'll talk about now in a minute, but there was a spell when you fell out of love with football, didn't you? And that was following your first spell at Swindon. And just take us through, if you will, and tell you what you want, really, about that spell and why you fell out of love with the game.
Yeah, it's kind of, I think first and foremost, even being back, I'll be honest, I don't watch a lot of football outside of Swindon. I kind of have other, and I think it's key because I think for me, with the nature of the role, it is kind of 7 days a week anyway. So I think it is key to have those other interests that you can switch off. So I don't, I'd be lying if I said I watched football non-stop because I don't. I kind of just, enough to make sure I can do the job well. But I think, going back to what you asked specifically, in terms of the first spell, it was, there's no secret that there was a bit of bad blood between myself and the previous ownership, and I want to stress that it was never anything to do with the club. It was ownership, not the club. It's never anything to do with the club. And I think, to be honest with you, I was young at the time. I was naive, and I probably took it too personally, and didn't deal with it very well from my point of view. I think, I think as I get older, I think it's important to not play the blame game, and you just got to focus on what you can do. And from my point of view, I didn't handle things well at all. I didn't carry myself in the most professional ways at the end, and that's on me. And that's something that I'm not proud of, because I do pride myself on being professional. But it was tough. It was a really tough situation. I didn't feel as if I could do the job to the best of my ability. It was, it can be a draining job. Like I said, it is effectively some weeks, 7 days a week. And I think it just got to the end where, I needed a bit of a clean break. I do have other interests that I wanted to explore, and still do at some point down the line. But I think back then it was just, I needed a clean break, and it was best for me to get out of that situation.
Yeah, I guess the pandemic didn't really help, did it? Because I know you wanted to go to the States and work there, didn't you? And, obviously with the way the pandemic went, that didn't really help your situation, did it?
No, it came at the worst possible time. As you know, Vic, I don't hold anything back. So I actually had a couple of offers on the table the week the pandemic hit. So life could have been very different. And look, it's still, being completely honest, it's still something I'd like to explore in the future. It's still a big dream of mine. Like I said, I've still got very vested interest in it, and I've got kind of friends out there. So it's something I would love to down the line. But as I've said on other platforms, the opportunity to came back to Swindon came up, and it was a chance for me to kind of, not rewrite history, so to speak, but to write a different ending to this particular chapter, if that kind of makes sense. Like I said, I wasn't really happy with how it ended, and it was a chance to come back under new ownership and help the club and a really special team achieve something special. And as long as I'm here, that's my only goal, is to make sure we get to where we want to get to. And I'm loving being back, and that's my focus.
Yeah, are you happy now? Because I think it caused you a few problems. You've been honest enough to tell us this, but you're happy now. Are you? You okay?
Yeah. Look, again, as I've said to you before, nothing for me is I'm happy to speak about anything. I had a few personal things that I kind of had to address last time, and again, probably didn't address very well. And I went away and did what I had to do, and I'm in a much better place now. And like I said, I'm happy to be back. Again, I have my own kind of aspirations as well further down the line, which I'll potentially explore at a later date. But I wouldn't, as I've said to other people, I wouldn't have come back if I didn't want to be back.
Right. Well, we'll talk about the whirlwind that is Clem Morfuni in a little while, because I think, to be honest, I saw you sprinting across the car park after the Australian chat more than once at the beginning of this season. So it was literally a whirlwind. But lots of comments coming in. This is from Carl. The fan engagement on socials has been outstanding since Clem took over. Well, you take a great deal of responsibility for that, obviously, because you're in charge of the social media content. That's fair to say, isn't it?
Yeah. So at the moment, it's kind of the social media stuff is my responsibility. To be honest, it's one of those things. Social media isn't a strong point of mine. It never really has been. I'm a kind of writer at heart. And I'll be honest, my first spell of social media was something I was probably lacking in, and it's not really something I've kind of had any training on. It's kind of self-taught, but obviously, as you know, Vic, this day and age, social media is the be-all and end-all. But I think hopefully we've had some fun with it this year. People have liked what we've put out. When obviously there's going to be things that people don't like. There was a lot of reaction to something we put out about turkey Twizzlers. People don't seem to know what they are, including half the players. So I think that makes me feel a little bit old. But yeah, it's again, it's something we've had a lot of fun with. I'm always open to suggestions, improvements. Like I said, we're not going to get everything right on that front. A lot of it is trial and error, but and I think it helps. The team doing well. I think being completely honest, because I've been at the other end of the spectrum where we've not done well, and it doesn't matter what you do if the team's not performing, then people don't really care. With all due respect to it, does help that we've got a great team that get the job done on a Saturday.
Yeah, it must be difficult because journalistically, I mean, Will last year must have had a nightmare of a time, really, because we all know the problems that he was dealing with whilst he was media officer there. And as the media officer for the club, you have to try to be a positive influence on social media, don't you? Where all the fans are going, well, why are you writing this? But it's a kind of weird situation whereby you can't knock the club if you're doing the social media for the club, can you?
Yeah, first and foremost, I have a lot of respect for Will. He did a great job in really tough circumstances, and kind of having had some experience of what it's like before, I think how bad people thought it was, I think times that by 10, and that will probably sum up Will's experience, because there's a lot of stuff that people don't know behind the scenes. So he had a really tough job, but he kind of carried himself great and did a great job. And it is tough, Again, I had it my first year in my first spell with Luke Williams, who I'm still close to now, when we got relegated. It was an awful year, but you can't knock the club. You have to try and put a positive spin on it, but sometimes that's easier said than done. So it is a fine balancing act. And again, I've certainly probably gone a little too overboard maybe after a loss. And I think it's just trying to get that fine balancing act, I think, and knowing when to put stuff out, when not to, and when to pull back a little bit.
Yeah, we ought to say thank you to Will, because he did a great job for us as well last season in very difficult situations. So thank you very much to Will. This is from Steve. Hi, Steve. What media ideas have you, or are you gleaning from other clubs? How much work is there still to do? Well, I would imagine the answer to that last question is a lot. But obviously you're learning all the time, aren't you? Other clubs learn from you. That's the process, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm a bit of a... I like to say I'm a media junkie. I consume a lot, and I'm always looking at other clubs, not just in England. Having been out in the States, I think their sports social media, they've kind of been ahead of the curve for a long time, and I think they do set the precedent in social media. So I look at a lot of what they do, and I'm lucky enough to have friends now that work in social media over there. So I pick their brains. And I've certainly picked their brains this year on stuff. From my perspective, we've only just started when it comes to the media department. Whatever you've seen now is just the beginning. I think we're finally hitting our stride in terms of catching up on stuff. And, I've got a lot of ideas. Obviously, there's no real specific ones to answer the question. There's a lot more video content we want to do, behind the scenes stuff. We've got Lewis Ward, who has been brilliant for me. One of the nicest guys there is, and he's got a journalism degree. He's got real passion for it and a real interest. So we want to do a lot more with him as we go. And again, if anyone's got any ideas or anything they'd like to see, I'm more than happy to take that on board and roll with it.
Yeah, marketing wise as well, there's a lot to learn from the States, isn't it? I remember coming back having seen a Major League Soccer game in the States, saying to somebody, do you know what they do at free kicks? They get this marker with disappearing stuff, and they put where the free kick should be and where the people should be 10 yards away. And they went, yeah, only in America. Well, do you know what? Brilliant idea. It's caught on over here. So, some of their ideas are a bit bonkers, but some of them are absolutely spot on, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm sure people will probably roll their eyes and be like, why is he talking about that? And they'll have their own ideas. But one thing you can't say that they don't, they know how to market their sport and their games, and that's why they there's so much money over there. And I've been to baseball games where it's 162 games in a regular season, and game 62 is like it's a final. And they make it an event, they make it a destination for that one day, with giveaways, and I think there's a lot we can learn. And we've certainly had discussions in the office where we've picked up on certain things that we want to introduce. I have floated the idea of a Clem bobblehead, which I think could go down well. So I think that's a key thing. You never stop learning. You're always looking. I think it's about always striving to improve and to be better. And I think there's nothing wrong with looking at other people, because that's how you learn in other teams. And I think if we can do that, then we'll be in a good place going forward.
Yeah, one of the things I remember from the Washington Nationals was the president's race, and they had 4 former presidents of the United States mascots having a race, and it was hilarious, and the crowd went mad. And I can imagine Rockin' Robin against Isambard Kingdom Brunel, so you can throw that one out. That would be a good laugh, wouldn't it? You never know. Right, Mitchell Singh. Hello, Mitchell. As someone who has worked in marketing for 10 years, my hat goes off to ASD. I don't think people appreciate how much he's had to deal with. He's your social media manager, your content creator, your account manager, offline marketing manager, and no doubt all the deals Danny lands requires ASD working with the design team to get that live. I had the pleasure of chatting to him after one of the games in the Winners' Lounge, and he's a top bloke. Keep up the great work. And that's the sort of comment you want, really, isn't it?
Well, thank you, Mitchell, for that. Yeah, those comments are really appreciated and makes it all worthwhile, really. It's nice to hear those comments, and it was great to speak to him after a game. And it's been one thing I've been kind of keen to do this time around, is to go around a little bit more and speak to fans, and because it's always good, I think, to get feedback face to face and get ideas on board. And yeah, it is nice because it is sometimes it can be a bit of a grind when you work in non-stop, and so those comments are always nice to hear.
Okay, give us an idea then of the last, let's say, today, for instance, Ben Garner likes to have his news conference early, doesn't he? Most managers do it after training, don't they? At sort of 1, 2 o'clock or whatever. Ben Garner, 8:30 in the morning. What's that about?
He likes to have it. I will say, the gaffer's great. Been an absolute pleasure to work with him. One of the best I've worked with. Knows what he wants. I think that's the main thing. Is he's decisive and knows what he wants, and that way there's everything straight down the middle. You know what he expects of you, and I think that's what you want. I've worked with managers before, and people will probably guess who I'm talking about, where it's the complete opposite to that, and it's absolute chaos. I think having it this way is it's organised. We know where we are every week. It's structured. Everyone knows where they need to be, and it produces results that way. But yeah, so it's an early start. So I meet the kit men, Jonah and Steve, at the ground about 20 past 7, half 7, and then we jump in a van. We have a little Starbucks club every time we have to do press. Very close to those two. Get to the training ground, set up, straight into press. And then it's back to the ground. So today it was back to the ground, making sure tomorrow's program was signed off, and then it was literally straight into Saturday's program. We are planning the kit launch for the 3rd kit this week, so that took up a lot of the time. And there's a few other bits that me and Danny, I'm helping Danny out with, because again, I don't mean to keep blowing his trumpet, but that guy, I don't, the amount of deals he's smashing out at the moment is incredible. So that's keeping me busy too. So And then I think once we're finished here tonight, there's a couple of bits that I need to finish up on, and then we're straight into the game tomorrow.
Yeah, because the thing is, you have to sign off on the program for Saturday before tomorrow night, which is always difficult, isn't it? Because managers' notes famously always say, I'm writing these notes before the Hartlepool game, so I don't know the result. And it's very difficult, isn't it, to do that sort of thing?
Yeah, so probably 98% of the program was done by the end of play Friday. To be fair to Nick at Braydog, our design team, we both worked yesterday, so that allowed the manager to get his notes in last night. Because the manager's very hands-on with his notes. I send him an outline, and he's great. He spends hours on them, and you know, they're his notes. You know, for sure.
Oh, it's interesting. Yeah, because a lot of managers, of course, never used to write them, did they? They were always written for them, and they just got to look through them and go, "Yeah, that's all right. That's fine."
And I've certainly had that before, but no, he puts a lot of pride and effort. When we did team photo day, I sent him the seating plan, expecting him to say yep, but no, he came back with his own.
Yeah.
He knows what he wants, and it makes my life a lot easier. But so we were able to get his notes in last night, so they were updated, and we proofed it late last night. So again, I think that's kind of testament to the people, not just at the football club, but that are working with the football club. I think there's a real desire at the moment to do what's right for the football club. So you've got people working all hours, even on a Sunday, to make sure that we deliver the best product. So as you said, we're not delivering kind of out-of-date stuff. So that was really key. And then, so that was signed off this morning. And then, we're straight into Saturdays, which will go off Thursday morning.
Yeah, Harrogate, of course, our first ever game against them, which would be an interesting experience. This from Royston, and actually, this is an interesting question. Are you aware of statements released by other clubs early season, e.g. Pompey, about turnstile issues causing delayed entry, with no sign of improvement at the county ground? Would be good to get timeline to fans. I don't know how much. We talked to Rob about this before. I know the club are looking at it. There are problems with the turnstile entry. You'll be aware of that. I don't know if that's your gig, is it?
We're kind of all involved in conversations. That's the great thing about the ownership now, is that we're all involved and we're all kept in the loop of what's going on. I think the way that we tackle those things now, and I can't say what they do at clubs like Portsmouth outside the press releases, but I think what we do is Rob likes to get out in front of it and address it himself on forums like this. And look, we have release statements on certain things, but I think the great thing about Rob is Rob will come out and face the music, so to speak, and address things head on. And I think that's kind of how we do it. All I can say to that is, obviously, there's active measures going on as we speak to improve that. And if there are more problems, then we'll look to address that via statements and Rob coming out. And it's kind of a fluid situation at the moment.
Yeah, and obviously, I think everybody's aware of the fact that it was such a late pre-season, if you like, for everybody, and so much needed to be done in a very short space of time. So I think people cut you a slack for a little bit of it. And of course, we're getting bigger crowds, which is another thing, which is great. But obviously, that leads to problems of its own, doesn't it, in a way?
Yeah, I think, I think everyone needs to kind of be aware of just where the club was when Clem first took over. And look, I didn't come in until the week before Scunthorpe, so I had it easy somewhat because the majority of the legwork was already done. And people like Matt Waters, our general manager, who I don't think he has a home. I think the grounds is home. I think he just disappears until we're all gone, then comes back and sleeps. Because the hours that guy puts in is incredible. And, I think people need to realize how lucky they are to have him at the football club, because he makes everything tick. Like Danny, obviously was instrumental in those early days, Rob and Amy and others that steadied the ship. But the club was in a mess. There was no infrastructure, and kind of everything that would normally have been done right at the end of the season wasn't really done until the season started. And so I get there's certain things that pop up that are frustrating for fans, and look, we get frustrated by it too. But just believe us when we say we're aware, we're doing our best to work on it, and we're all very, very driven and motivated to give you the best experience we can, and we're working every single day to make those improvements and do what we can to get this right and give you the best possible match day experience we can.
Yeah, and I guess at the moment you are riding on a crest of goodwill. You have been since the start of the season, since the takeover, and obviously with the way the team's playing, there's a great deal of goodwill out there at the moment. So that helps in as a great benefit to you, I'm sure. This from Rich. Hello, Rich. These are the problems that people are coming up with. Why is the shop closed Mondays? I understand there's a new retail manager and assistant manager coming in. Is that right? Is that in the process? I don't know how much you can say on that, because obviously you're not directly involved in appointing people, but can you give us an answer on that?
Yeah, so they have been interviewing, and I think something will be announced on that soon. I think so there'll be a new kind of retail team, and I think credit goes to Vicky Isles, who is job, stepping into the breach, and she's been brilliant along with Chelsea and everyone else in the shop. Rob and Shayla, they've kind of hold the fort down and done brilliantly, and Vicky's come up with her own ideas, and so as for the question, I can't personally answer why it's closed on a Monday, but it's something I'm sure we can take feedback on and go from there.
Because obviously with the big C word coming up, you want to make as much out of that as possible, don't you, in the next couple of weeks, I guess?
Yeah, there will be, I know something we've done in the past, we're doing again. There will be extended opening hours, which will be announced in due course, where we'll have players come and visit again. Again, that's certainly something we did when I was there last time. So there is that we will be offering those kind of services to ensure people can get in when they're maybe not at work and get their Christmas goodies.
Rich says, will STFC have a new website for ticket system? Again, I went on the website today, got 2 tickets for the Colchester game, albeit not in the normal place that I sit because 3 rows blocked out for some reason I don't know. So how is the ticket system website going? Is that being updated or not?
So the ticket system website isn't under my domain, but what I will say on that whole thing generally is that at the moment the ticketing website and the main website are kind of 2 separate things. We have had conversations, we would like to have our own purpose-built website eventually that's not set to a template. That I've been looking at quite a few. Obviously, we're in, a learn to walk before you can run stage, but that's something that we are looking at. Again, there's things that we have to do first before we can kind of take on big tasks like that. But I'm sure that's something when we get to that stage, we'll look to kind of bring all in, in-house, and that should hopefully remedy a few things.
Adam says, keep up the great work, top man. What date is Clem back? Do we know when our owner is coming back over again? Yes. I know he was doing a Q&A from Australia on Saturday, wasn't he? But when's he back over here?
The middle of December.
Oh, right. Okay. So will he be spending Crimbo over here then?
I believe he will, yes. Yeah. So, yeah, he'll be back. Obviously, Christmas is just around the corner, so he'll be back before people know it. And I'm looking forward to it, actually, because I managed to keep the weight off when he was here running around after him.
Let's talk about that, because were you weren't in post at Supermarine, or were you? I can't remember. I don't think you were you?
So I think I came in a week before Scunthorpe. So I had talked to Robin Clem, and I think it was the Wednesday before Scunthorpe. Danny sent me a text, I think 8-9 o'clock, and said, would you be willing to go to Scunthorpe to cover? And I said, yeah, sure. I went in on the Thursday at that point just to do a couple of hours and then work remotely. And I think by the end of Thursday, I was kind of in all day, every day. And then did Scunthorpe, and then from there it was kind of a whirlwind for the rest of August.
I mean, I did seem to see you at every home game chasing across the car park to one pub or another with a camera in tow. I mean, it was an extraordinary time, wasn't it?
It was, it was mental to be completely honest. I think his last game we did 2 pubs. He played cricket. No, that was it. We did Highworth in the morning for the juniors. Then he played cricket. Then we went to a pub. Then it was back to the ground for an interview at Points West. That was probably the busiest one. And then when you're a one-man team as well, you kind of having to do stuff on your mobile as you go. And that was kind of the case for the whole of August while he's with us. And it's just, as you say, it was a lot of running arounds. I think probably people were probably concerned when they saw me because I had a constant look of worry on my face. Because obviously Clem's great because he will stop and take pictures. But I was given certain timelines to work within to get him back. And he was being stopped every 5 seconds. So I'm just there thinking, okay, we're right up against it. It was all good fun though, and I think it kind of just sums up the feel good factor since he's come in.
Yeah, he also took part in that, didn't he? The walking football tournament at Foundation Park. So yeah, even got a team together for that.
So I was there, and originally I was only meant to be taking pictures, and so Clem's remarkable because he attacks everything he does with 1,000,000%, and it's the same with football. So he persuaded me to join in. I was in jeans, which wasn't ideal. Obviously, you were there, Vic.
Yeah.
We got knocked out, and he got our team down to play a full-on 6-a-side, so not walking this time. Full-on 6-a-side, and I don't know what it was, but every time I got the ball, I just saw this huge figure, because he's a big guy, charge toward me and just pummel me at every opportunity. I think I'm still, feeling the effects of that to this day. But yeah, he's just an incredible person to be around. He just, has his aura about him. He knows what he wants. He gets it done. He expects the same of us. And I think the club's in, the right hands 1,000,000%.
This from Stephen, a very interesting question. Bearing in mind what sport is going through generally at the minute, has Andrew ever posted on social media something he regrets, and posted he's something he's really proud of? And you'll be aware, I'm talking specifically about social media comments in the past, in cricket, things like that. And as we know, it's very easy to say something which may come back to you in 10 years. I mean, have you ever done anything like that? And is it something you're really proud of?
Yeah, this has come up on another platform, and it goes back to what we were talking at the start. When I was talking about things I didn't handle very well, I did take a couple of shots at the club, again aimed at the old ownership rather than the club, because it was never anything personal against the club, which was a stupid thing to do on my part. I was just feeling probably frustrated and upset. It's my hometown club, and so there's a couple of tweets that I wish I didn't send, and were kind of brought back up when I first joined. And yeah, I think for my role, I've been doing a lot of media training with the under-18s, and I know, Vic, we're going to bring you down.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Yeah,
some sessions, which would be great. You've got to be so careful, because we live in a world now where cancel culture is a real thing, whether you believe in it or not, and that's a different conversation for a different day. But whatever you put in the internet universe will be there, because people will screenshot it. I don't need to bring up examples, but we've had instances with players this season where screenshots are made and they're there forever. So you do have to be so careful. I've certainly come on the wrong end of that. I hold my hands up, and it's not something I'd want to do again, because it's not a good look.
When will the club be letting Harry McCurdy loose on Twitter again? I'm distancing you from the last comment on that. And also, I had another comment from Mike, which said, Paolo Di Canio, Nile Ranger, or Harry McCurdy? And I'm guessing these are people who have, how can we put this, characters, and sometimes you have to be careful how you deal with them, don't you? And guide them, I guess.
Yeah. Look, first and foremost, there wasn't any direct order for Harry to come off Twitter. That was his decision. I think he was on it for the first time and just decided to come off it after things kicked off a bit. I love Harry to bits. I'm a huge fan of his. I admit I probably didn't handle him the right way to start with. I think we're quick to say footballers have no personality and say the same cliche stuff, but then when someone comes out with a bit of personality, we're then quick to try and nail them to the cross. And I think what we need to do is we actually need to allow those players to be themselves, because that's what any one of us would want in our workplaces, to be ourselves, right? No one wants to go to work and have to be someone they're not. And I think with Harry, look, I'm not speaking on his behalf, but maybe a mistake was made, but he apologized for that, and we moved on. And if he wanted to go back on Twitter again, I'd welcome it, because he is a breath of fresh air. He is 100% himself, and he's not ashamed about it, and he shouldn't be. He's one of the nicest guys you'll meet. I've loved dealing with him and working with him, and I think we need more of those personalities in the game, personally.
Yeah, and I think fans, there have been many of them through the years. You go back to Stan Bowles, people like that, different players. And football's sometimes a bit grey, and you just need something a bit different. And I think that's what Swindon fans have experienced this season. Right, loads of other questions, actually. A couple from Paddy. Hello, Paddy. Credit to the club shop staff this season, always helpful and friendly. Good that the club are aware of it, but don't see how the queues this season could be linked to the problems the club had in the summer. The club are pushing for hitting 10,000, but can't handle getting supporters in the ground. And there is a lot of frustration. It'll be certainly with the last Papa John's Trophy game. People weren't getting in until 15 minutes after the game started. It's a 7:45 kickoff next Tuesday, I think, isn't it, for the Colchester game?
Yeah, we'll have that confirmed this week. Yeah. I don't want people. I probably wasn't very clear, so I apologise. We're not. I wasn't necessarily linking things like the turnstiles to the summer, but it is no secret that certain parts of the ground are a bit outdated, and have also kind of been left to rot a little bit, if that's not too extreme to say. So there's work going around on the clock by various people to kind of update stuff, and that's kind of where it comes down to, I think. Is just certain parts of the ground needing a little bit of upgrading and needing a little bit of TLC, basically. So that's where it comes down to. And as I said, I can't really speak for specifics on that, but there is work going around the clock to make these improvements. And I think the key thing is that we hear and take on board every single bit of feedback we get, and we're looking to make those improvements. Some will take a bit longer than others, but we're not ignoring it. We're trying to do our best to get it done, and we will do.
Right, yeah. Now then, let's go through more of these comments. Are we getting free Wi-Fi inside the ground? You'll be aware at some sports grounds. I mean, I'm a Somerset member. You get free Wi-Fi inside the county ground at Taunton. Thatcher Cider sponsor them as well as Swindon Town. There's a quick commercial plug for you. Just thought I'd get that in for you. So free Wi-Fi inside the ground. I don't get any free Thatcher Cider, by the way. That's not going to happen. But is there going to be free Wi-Fi, things like that? Would that be development?
I mean, it would have been nice to have got some Wi-Fi on Saturday. I had a bit of a nightmare, so I apologise to fans for that. I seem to be the only one that didn't have any connection, so our match day service wasn't as great as it should be. In regards, so the Wi-Fi is currently being addressed, and again, it's something that's being kind of upgraded and brought into the modern times. And that's all I kind of know. So I can certainly ask the question, and if you want to pass me on that the name, and I can get back to them about that once I've asked.
Well, that's from Rich. So we'll get the comments passed on to you afterwards. So that's fine.
Before we carry on, I've actually got a question for you, if that's okay.
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
So you're someone I respect hugely, and you were someone I looked up to when I was coming through the ranks. However, the one thing I want to know,
Yes.
when it comes to your cup of tea,
Yes.
are you a milking first with a tea bag, or milking?
No. Oh, milking after, definitely any day of the week. Yeah. It has to be very strong tea. Yes.
Yeah, we were having a debate earlier, and I thought you'd be the perfect person to ask.
Yeah.
I'm first.
All right. Okay. Well, I used to work with somebody who said, just put milk and water in and then dip the tea bag in and then take it straight out again. And I thought, well, what's that about? That's a very strange concoction. But definitely milk second. Strong as you like. Make it really strong. So there we go.
Things there, didn't I? I'll let you do the hosting.
Yeah, make a note of it. This is from L. Marshall. I haven't got a first name. Hi, Vic and Andrew. There's been fantastic fan engagement from the club media since the summer. Are there any plans to enhance the profile of our women's and youth teams with more media coverage? For example, live streaming of youth games, etc. Thanks. A lot of clubs put the youth matches on YouTube, don't they, and things like that. So I know you're trying to get stronger connection with the women's team, aren't you? And sadly, the game against Exeter was postponed because of the weather, which is a great shame. So what about that?
Yeah, so I can kind of answer to. So you mentioned YouTube there. For those that asked, there's been a bit of an access problem with YouTube, which I'm working through and hope to have a solution first, which is why there's been nothing on there, but we're getting to the bottom of that. In regards to the youth and women's team, that's something I'm really keen to do, and it's kind of been a bit of a bugbear myself that I haven't been able to do more. Danny has again secured a brilliant partnership, which will be announced tomorrow.
Right.
Without giving too much away, that will lead to more streaming of things like youth team games. We've got a lot of things planned for the women's team as well. I'm actually in the process of getting someone on to help during the week, and that'll help because obviously at the moment it's just me, and with all the will in the world, there's certain things that sometimes slip off the plate that I'd love to give more time to. So I'm hoping once I have an extra pair of hands, we can do a lot, because there's a lot more on the academy and the women's team I'd love to do.
Yeah, that game, by the way, I think has been rearranged for the 18th of December at Fairford, the Swindon Exeter game, as far as I know. So that's the 18th of December at Cinder Lane. From Laura, I agree with Mitchell. The work Andrew does is phenomenal. Watching him talk about his job this time round with a smile and seeing he has the passion back for SDFC is amazing. We're lucky to have someone like Andrew working at our club. This from Andrew, a fellow Somerset fan and town fan. The players' own social media platforms are very important to them. How can you control that, if at all, especially if some are more, shall we say, controversial than others? Now, you'll be well aware that there's the cut and paste player reaction, isn't there? Disappointed today. We go again Tuesday. Fans were on fire. Blah blah blah. Safe travelling. But then, as we've said before, there's the Harry McCurdy thing, which is slightly different, and it's a really difficult line to straddle, isn't it?
Yeah. It goes back to what we were saying before. I think in terms of my role, I don't get overly involved because I don't believe in kind of babysitting the players in terms of that. I kind of feel that if we force them to do stuff, it's not going to be authentic. So their social media is very much their social media, and they can do with it what they see fit. There is a social media policy in place with the club, so they do know that there's certain guidelines and certain things to avoid and don't do. As you were saying about Harry, we want more players like that with to kind of show their personality. And I think, look, there's been a lot recently, and I think obviously you can't blame players if they want to play it safe. But from my angle, it's kind of I just kind of oversee it, and I always tell the players to be yourself. We're doing media training with the under 18s, and the main thing I'm saying to them is be yourself first and foremost. That personality shine through, and we'll kind of fill in the rest of the gaps along the way.
More from Paddy, and this is a really nice comment. Watching this at Papa Stavros's house, he says, fair play to Andrew for ploughing through the questions. I have to add, he's a 24 carat correct. The club are 100% better at communication this season. Respect to Andrew and to Rob Angus. And, well, to everybody at the club, I think that's fair to say. From Dean, top man, Andrew, keep up the great work. From Colin, you're doing a fantastic job, Andrew. Well done and thank you. This from Andy. Who came up with the idea of Clem driving the van around promoting the season tickets? It was a brilliant idea. This was the tour of Swindon a little earlier in the campaign, wasn't it? And went round to various places like Don Rogers Sports Shop, things like that, to promote season tickets. Who came up with that one?
So I think that was more Adam, who's kind of more behind the scenes. Danny and Matt, I think it was those, and Rob. I think those four. We'll have to take the credit for that. That was kind of just as I first came back. It was more them that came up with the idea of Clem driving a bus, and then we kind of just set the route from there, really. Danny put in his sponsors, and I think we kind of as a team suggested things like the outlet. But no, things like that were a great idea. We can maybe do something similar when Clem's back potentially. Depending on the schedule and things like that. But I think that was a really nice way to kind of set the tone for what's followed in terms of the new way that we're going about things, and being open and transparent and that fan engagement, which is so important.
Have you got a Santa sleigh you could borrow for the day? Maybe you could do that. Get a red and white top on and be away, wouldn't he?
Santa would be all good, so.
This from Joe, top fellow Andrew, great for the club, true gent. From team, really interesting interview. ASD is very articulate and speaks so openly and honestly. Another piece of this brilliant transparent setup at Swindon these days. Right, this is from Jason. Interesting one, this about away games. Now, you'll be aware that there's this bonkers statistic. We're Swindon at a rock bottom of the home form and soaring away at the top of the away form, unbeaten so far away from home, which is extraordinary, including the Cambridge United Cup tie, which was on your penalties, so I don't count that as a defeat. On away matches, have you all stuck to the same routine as psychological point of view? I mean, is there some sort of tradition in the camp? Not something. I'm not sure if they do anything different or not. I think obviously the gaffers stressed that there's no real differences between home or away. But yeah, it's a tough one to answer that because I kind of make my own way up, so I'm not really around the team in the build up. I stick the same playlist on every away game morning if that helps people. But other than that, I don't know. I know the gaffer's obviously very keen to stress that there's, from their point of view, they don't do anything different than they would for a home game. But yeah, I think we've got the most points in the top four divisions as well away, which is just it's kind of just crazy how it's worked out this season. Yeah. What we want tomorrow night, if you've got any influence at all, is 3 points. I don't care if it's a scruffy goal in the 98th minute. Just get the 3 points, all right? Could you tell them that before the game tomorrow? That would be lovely. Right, this is from Matt Ball. Good to have you back at the club, mate. Ben Nichols says, good to see you back, Andrew. Hope you're well. James says, are the club getting involved with the Her Game 2 initiative? Well, I think you said already that you wanted to get stronger links with the women's team, don't you? And I know we've had representatives from the women's team on here as well. And the club are getting more and more involved, which is great.
Yeah, so we've been working with the Her Game 2 movement, and there should be stuff on that soon. But that's something that we've been working with for a while now, and there'll be a lot more on that. But yeah, it's something, we want, it to be just one club. That's what we want it to be, and it hasn't always been that way, and that's what we're trying to do. Again, it's kind of, it is baby steps, but we're doing what we can, and there's much more of a solid partnership now, and things like the Her Game 2 movement will certainly benefit that going forward.
Actually, I should say that game against Exeter is on the Sunday the 19th, not the 18th. That's the Saturday, isn't it, when we're playing Walsall? So, yeah, the 19th at 2 o'clock at Cinders Lane in Fairford. This from Kevin. Is Clem's wife and family coming with him this time? I'm sure they won't be too happy with him away at Christmas. Do you know if they are?
I think they might be. I can't speak definitely on that, but I have a feeling that they might be coming over, which would be nice.
Yeah, it would be nice. Yeah, definitely. And they could have a winter Christmas rather than spending it on the beach, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, Joe says get your playlist on tomorrow then. If it works away from home, get it on tomorrow.
I'll be sure to have it on while I'm getting ready for the game. So we'll see if that brings any luck.
Any ideas what's on it?
Yeah, I've got a very, very, very varied music taste. I'm kind of into the old stuff, bit of Motown, Frank Sinatra. There's a joke in the office that I'm very much an old man at heart, which I think probably true. So my music taste definitely reflects that.
So what will be on there tomorrow then? Give us some tunes.
It's got to be a bit of Bruce Springsteen, I think, for a game day. Stuff that kind of gets you going. Bit of Bruce Springsteen, maybe some modern stuff, some upbeat stuff, some 80s dance classic stuff like that. Stuff that gets the blood going while I'm setting the scoreboard up and stuff and making those coffees that Danny doesn't make. So,
is that the new third top you're wearing? That question says. Now let's talk about this bleep third kit, because I first asked this question, 55 years ago it seems, and it was deflected by Clem and by Rob. And Zav got up and had some red underpants on, if I remember rightly. It was a bit of a strange thing.
Sell them as a range in the shop for Christmas.
Sorry, say that again.
We've been seeing if we can sell Swindon Town branded pink hot pants in the shop.
It was a very strange moment. And then we asked Rob and Danny a few weeks ago. They too wouldn't play ball. What can you tell us?
To be honest, I think I'm probably going to disappoint you, Dick. There's not really a lot I can say. I would love to tell you. All I can say is we're working on the launch video this week. It's certainly the first time since I've kind of been involved with Bow Spells we've done something like this. We've got Matt Edwards, our brilliant videographer, who's doing the lion's share of the work on this. He's done a lot of the sights and sounds videos that you may have seen this season. He's really, really talented. So he's putting together. He was working on it tonight actually. He's putting together something special, and I think, again, I can't give anything away, but I think it will be a hit with fans.
And I think Black Friday is a big day retail wise. Is it going to be ready by then?
That's the aim, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so that's this coming Friday. Thursday, of course, is Thanksgiving.
As they say.
Yeah, fair enough. And just tell us, because we're coming towards the end of our time, it's been fantastic, Andrew. Thank you so much for answering all the questions. And just give us an idea of what happens tomorrow then. What time's the alarm go off? What time do you actually get to bed after all your media duties?
So I'll probably look to get in about 8:30 tomorrow, just because it's a long day, but there is a lot to do. So I'll get in about 8:30 tomorrow. First thing I do before anything is make a coffee. I can't operate without coffee. That's the very first thing I do. I have my own jar of coffee that people take the mick out of me for. That's how important it is. That's probably my most important tool to keep me going. So we have that. Then it'll be a case of working through Saturday's program, because we've got to get that kind of done and squared away as much as we can. It'll be going through the media passes off data codes, so making sure that all the passes are ready for the media when they arrive. Things like setting up the scoreboards, because I also do that on a home game. I run the scoreboard. Fill in the website and social media with content. On game days, I like to keep things simple, but things that are going to get people in the mood, especially on a Tuesday, because it's a long day, people at work. So you want to kind of push tickets and get people hyped up. So there'll be a lot of that. The closer we get to the game, you'll be running around making sure that everything's ready. We're ready to go when the media arrive. The media will arrive. I'll pop my head in and say hello to the gaffer. I'll be there for when team sheets are handed in. I'll then go away and get the team announcements ready, which we've got new graphics for, which I'm sure you've seen start to roll out. And then obviously once, to be honest, the easiest part on a home game day is probably when the game starts. Things kind of settle down a little bit. And then it'll be a case of once the game's done, it'll be press. I'll take the manager and the player into the press room to speak to the local media. Obviously, BBC Wiltshire will do it live, and then we have our other media members that jump in. Once that's done, I'll get our website bits done. And to be honest, I don't know why it affects me this way. I know it affects the players, but I can never sleep after a game. I don't, whether it's Saturday or Tuesday, I can never. Saturday was ideal for me because, as you know, I'm a big hockey fan, and a lot of the hockey's late. So I was up to about 4, I think, because I just couldn't sleep. Not ideal when you have to be in on a Wednesday, but yeah, so I'll probably get to sleep early hours of the morning and then be ready to go again on Wednesday.
Yeah, it's that buzz, isn't it? I mean, I was always the same when I was commentating on games. It does take a while to come down, as it were. And obviously you have to deal with nightmares like Johnny Leafield and Andrew Hawes, which must be just dreadful. How you deal with those people, I don't know.
Johnny in particular, I don't know how we do
it. Andrew, thank you so much. It's been really interesting. And I tell you, I think many people just think, oh, media bloke just turns up, does a bit of this and a bit of that, and then goes away again. There's a lot more involved. So I think you've given us a real insight tonight. I just was disappointed you didn't produce the third shirt from outside at the desk and just hold it up like that.
I know.
Very disappointed.
I would have done for you, Vic, you know that. But
thank you. Yeah. Gutted. That's all I can say. I tried, Chris.
You tried. I'm sorry, but I do know. So I'm one of those.
Oh no!
Andrew, that was fabulous.
You see that wound there? You've just rubbed a bit of salt in it. Well done.
Sorry. No, that was great, Andrew. Thank you very much. And from the OSC, I want to thank you for all you do for us, because it's not easy trying to incorporate all these other requests that you get as well into your day job. So we do appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Can I just say on that note, sorry, before I go, I don't think proper credit was given before, so I want to take this opportunity now just to thank you all, and particularly Hannah Clinch, for everything that was done for Link, the little mascot at Oldham. A huge thanks to Vicky on our end who stepped into the breach because I was stuck in those traffic jams, and gave yourselves and Vicky at our end gave him a day to remember. It's a tragic story there. I certainly was affected, and I've looked at things differently since. But I think I just wanted to say thank you for everything you did to give him and that family a special day out.
Dion Conroy spoke very emotionally about it last week, didn't he?
It was really, because I took Link up to the tunnel, waiting for Dion, and Keith Curl, the older manager, to be fair, came out and was great, and Link kind of shook his bum at him to taunt him. Me and Dion had a bit of a moment after. I think it affected both of us deeply. I know Dion's got a friend that's battling cancer at the moment, and I've had instances of it in my family. It's obviously a horrible disease. And I just think his kind of bravery and his courage is, I think, a lesson for us all that we can take. But I think it was a huge credit to you guys. I know Hannah, who worked really hard to get that rolling.
Yeah, I will pass that on. I'm sure Hannah will watch this anyway. But it was an absolute pleasure, because we have special connections with his great auntie, Terry, so we keep in contact and know how he's getting on. So, but no, thank you for all you did as well. So,
and
thank you very much.
Johnny Leafield's a bit upset by the remarks that we made at the end of the.
Is he? I'm sure I get over it. Bless him.
Oh, Johnny, I'll bring you a cup of tea tomorrow.
Don't forget tea first, then milk. Don't do that. And let's say hello to Marion in the press room, because she's always a lovely person. So there we are.
There we go. Brilliant.
Marion is what keeps the media department running on the game day. So I'll definitely pass that on.
Yeah, good.
Brilliant. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Thank you for all your comments. Sorry if we didn't get through all of them, but again, I will pass them on to Andrew later. So thank you, everybody. We will be back next Monday with our normal Monday night panel, which will review tomorrow night's game and also the Harrogate game on Saturday. So between now and then, take care and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Thank you.